Noodles, which is a common staple, one of the fast foods in Nigeria, was introduced into the market in 1988 by Indo Foods and has gained popularity. Since then, consumers have attested to its convenience, taste, nutritious value, and affordable prices. For some of these reasons, Nigeria has become the world's 12th largest instant noodle market in the world. Other brands are currently competing for dominance to capture the Nigerian noodle market, with flavors becoming easy differentiators, even though the chicken flavor has become the dominant flavor in the noodle category. Meanwhile, a recent survey carried out revealed that 9 out of 10 Nigerians aged 35 and under are loyal consumers of the staple, spending between 60 naira and 350 per item, depending on size and flavor. Noodles is arguably in the ranks above foods like rice, yams, eba, or any other typical staple thought to be the sole domain of Nigerian cuisine. They are also slightly less expensive than other staples and easy, quick, and simple to prepare, especially when you are hungry and pressed for time, making them stand out from other food varieties. So, lately, there was a report making the rounds that NAFDAC has banned the importation of noodles in Nigeria. However, the National Agency for Food and Drugs Administration and Control has reiterated that importation of noodles is banned in Nigeria. According to report, Director General of NAFDAC, Professor Mojisola Adeyeye, said the product is one of the foods on the government prohibition list. She further stated that the noodles is not allowed in the country because it has not been registered by the agency, and that NAFDAC only approves circulation of noodles produced in Nigeria and not imported. She therefore noted that the agency would begin random sample tests of the noodles and other brands from May 2nd, which is today. Well, in Nigeria today, we'll be looking at the concerns over consumption of noodles. I am your carrier, Clinton. Welcome to Nigeria Today. Joining me via Zoom is Director General of NAFDAC, Professor Mojisola Christiana Ade. Good to have you with us, Prof.
Thank you. Good evening. It's good to be here.
And here in the studio, we have a public health specialist, Dr. Isaac Abuja. Welcome to Nigeria Today.
Thank you for having me. Good evening, Prof.
So, Prof, I will start with you. Tell us more about these news on the ban of imported noodles. Just want to know more about it.
Okay. Good evening again. NAFDAC did not ban any importation of noodles. There is no ban on importation of noodles by NAFDAC. The government placed noodles on prohibition list many years ago to encourage local manufacturing. And since then, NAFDAC has registered many locally made noodles, including Indomie noodles. Therefore, there is no relationship between the Taiwanese or the Malaysian noodles that were recalled, because noodles are on prohibition list anyway. What NAFDAC is doing is what we usually do in terms of news like this, that is global in nature, is to also go to the market and do post-marketing surveillance and take samples to the lab. We are also, and that is what May 2nd is all about. We went to different companies to take samples, that's all, locally made noodles, to take samples, and also went to the market to get more samples. And those samples are heading to the lab. as we speak. It is a precautionary measure that we are taking. Those that have been registered have been found safe over years. But since this news broke, we decided to do an added precautionary measure or post-marketing surveillance. And that's what we are doing right now.
Okay, Prof, we've heard you on that. Now, are there quality control in place to check harmful products? Because of the recent news about the substance that was discovered in, by some health officials in Taiwan and Malaysia, that was discovered in a particular brand of noodles. So, are there quality control in check to check any kind of harmful product, even though it's within the country?
Yes, that's a very good question. The strength of NAFDAC is in its lab, aside from other regulatory activities. We've been acquiring a lot of equipment in the laboratories all over the country, but especially in the food lab in Oshodi. Therefore, there is quality control for all the foods that we register. But we don't stop there. We go to the market from time to time to make sure that there is no infiltration of products that we did not register. Sometimes people will fake products, and we do detect such during our post-marketing surveillance. So in terms of quality control, yes, we have the capacity to do that. And we've been doing that for all our foods.
Thank you very much, Prof. And now, Doc, with the recent news that broke about the substance that was, discovered in one of these brand of noodles. Now, the question here is, what would make a manufacturer want to use this particular compound in a product that is to be consumed? Are there kind of pros?
Okay, now maybe I should make a little clarification.
Okay.
The problem that was detected was not the noodle itself. It is the flavor enhancers.
Okay, like the ethylene?
And the preservatives that go with the noodles that are the problem. If you look at noodle, I mean, there isn't anything more than the regular food starch in it. Maybe a little bit of protein and so on. But what is harmful to health or damaging to health is not the noodle itself. It is what they use to preserve and to enhance the flavor of noodles. If you see the Indomie, before the Nigerian made Indomie.
Noodles.
Yes. Well, let me call Indomie. Noodles.
Indomie is a brand. So
yes,
noodles.
It's a brand. Noodles.
Okay.
Okay. When you cook it or when you are cooking it, there's a sachet that you open and you pour the liquid, brown, dark color, chocolate color sometimes, or most times, and you add to the noodle that is cooking, and it cooks with it. It is that that liquid that you add to the noodle that you cook that contains monosodium glutamate, for example, which is a sweetener or flavor enhancer that is dangerous to health. And let me say something. Most of the time, those kinds of food, those classes of food that are banned in many countries, and when they are banned, it is because of the effect that they have on health. When you take the preservative that I'm talking about, the sweetener or the flavor enhancer, sodium glutamate that I'm talking about, for example, it is toxic to the kidney. It is toxic to the brain, it is toxic to the liver, and harmful to the reproductive system. And this is the reason why it is not advisable to use them. The good news is that in Nigeria here, like the NAFDAC chief has just said, they are regularly checking, regularly testing to see if somebody has done something that is not supposed to do, added something and so on. We just heard that they are collecting samples. They are going to analyze those samples. If they find any harmful substances, either as preservatives or flavor enhancers, they will say so and they will ban them.
Okay, now how dangerous are these? You've mentioned this, so like I understand, like from some of the report I got, that is also cancer kind of using.
Yeah. Okay, let me talk generally.
Okay.
Many preservatives or flavor enhancers, and I've given a good example, and the one that is used very commonly, sodium glutamate. I have already stated that it's harmful to the kidney, it's harmful to the liver, it's harmful to the brain, and it's harmful to the male reproductive organ. It affects sperm production and therefore harmful. Okay, now when you look at Maggi, for example, it's also in the same class.
Spices.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not supposed to be used. As a matter of fact, if I personally were to recommend, I would recommend that all Maggi, which is the other one.
Spices generally.
No,
Maggi is a brand.
no. You cannot say spices generally.
Okay.
There are spices that are good. Okay. In fact, there are spices that dietitians recommend for patients to use. So I cannot say spices generally. Okay. I'm talking of particular types, like the Knorr, the Maggi, for example. Many of them are carcinogenic too. Carcinogenic meaning that they cause cancer. And what is bad in many cases is the prolonged use of those preservatives or those sweeteners or flavor enhancers. And if you notice, for those who like Indomie, some people are hooked to Indomie. And students in particular, because they don't have the time to cook elaborate food. It is very easy to cook. It is very easy to eat, and so on and so forth. But let me repeat again. The issue is not the
noodles.
The noodle itself. It is what is used to cook it that is in question.
Okay. Thank you. Let's pause here for a break and hear a cross-section of Nigerians on the subject matters put together by our correspondent, Suleiman Abdulwahab.
You know, like now noodles helps people now to, like sharp, like Nigeria normally says, is a sharp food that you can use to quench the hunger you have. So noodles, to stop noodles may bring some kind of effect, basically in the life of youth, even children's, like, young ones growing. They always say noodles, mommy buy noodles, let me eat, I'm hungry. Like in the morning, yes, it helps. So
this noodle is here, a lot of sickness without noodles. Before, when you eat for our farm, something like pounded yam, fufu, gari, we not hear any explain all those things, sickness there about. But there, for all those ones, noodles, main type of foreign food, they bring a lot of sickness to Nigeria these days.
From the look of things, anything foreign is preserved by chemical, and that chemical has one effect or the other. So if they should ban it, I think sickness, all this kind of disease that we don't even know what they are worried about before, I think they will reduce.
I don't even see it in Nigeria itself. So till now, only the Nigeria one we are taking.
Welcome back. It is still Nigeria Today, and my guests are still with me. Now, Prof, You've had some of the respondents there. Now, beyond the manufacturers, now, we have the distributors, we have the marketers, and we have the retailers like the stores, our supermarkets. Are there ways you can check some of this product? Because some of this product we are talking about, as much as we say there are no imported noodles, some people smuggle some of these things and brings direct to their stores, their supermarkets. Are there measures in place to ensure that this is averted?
Again, that is a very good question. NAFDAC is like a police organization with 20 eyes or 40 eyes looking around every time. You are right to say that sometimes you see infiltration, what we call infiltration, smuggled goods. And that is part of why we go to the market from time to time to check what we registered and see whether there is that NAFDAC number on a particular product. Even sometimes they will fake our NAFDAC number. So it is a very arduous task, but that we are already caught up to do every time. And that is the reason why we are not just limiting ourselves to this Indomie chicken flavor noodles. We are taking samples of all noodles in the market. And what the prof said earlier about the seasoning or the spice that comes with it. We are not just taking samples of the starch noodle, but we are also taking samples of the spices to ensure that the ethylene oxide is not present. What the prof said about additives in foods has to be taken very seriously. And I'm not just talking of this ethylene oxide, other additives. NAFDAC belongs to the FAO, WHO Codex Alimentarius, where all these chemicals, additives are discussed at length in terms of the amount that should be in a serving. If you look at the label, you will see serving, how many milligrams of this, milligrams of that should be there. If food is taken in excess and continuously, it becomes a habit. And after a while, such harmful chemicals may be building up. I've said it in several fora that US FDA evolved and is still evolving. A regulatory agency is not static, it's a dynamic organization. At the beginning, and I want to use the monosodium glutamate that was mentioned, about 40 years ago, there was no noise as such about monosodium glutamate. And after a while, because of reports, scientific data, FDA started looking critically, keenly on the amount of monosodium glutamate in packages. When I first got to the US, I would just buy food and, but once I got sensitized, I may stay with a product reading the label for 5 minutes, even for more than that. How much sugar does it have? How much monosodium glutamate? How much seasoning? Before even the monosodium glutamate was not written out. It was written as flavor enhancer. I'm talking of US. I'm not talking of Nigeria. But the regulatory agency, US FDA, evolved. and they insisted, and that is part of what Codex Alimentarius, FAO, WHO group insist, that such additives must be well defined and on the label. So there are people that are very sensitive to monosodium glutamate, and you are speaking, somebody, me, I'm very sensitive. My son is very sensitive. But there are others that are not sensitive. So we cannot ban monosodium glutamate. We will sensitize our people that we should not use it too much. Because what Prof said earlier is true in terms of toxicity. After a while, when you keep taking it and taking it and taking it, I think I've not used monosodium glutamate for over 40 years. And when people come to my house and taste my soup, they will say, "What? You didn't add this to it?" No, I said, "No, I didn't." Because there are other spices. And we have so much in Nigeria in terms of natural spices. So to answer your question, I hope I've answered it actually. We are not leaving any stone unturned. We have gone to the market to take samples, and they are heading to the lab as we speak.
Are you sensitizing the people? Because you said quite a lot of things here, and people are not aware of quite a lot of things you've just mentioned. I, for one, I'm just getting some of the information right here. So, how informed are people out there? What's the level of sensitization?
Actually, it is a very good question, because we have about 50% illiteracy in Nigeria. That is the more reason why NAFDAC's job is a tough job in terms of sensitization. It's not like you have well-educated society that can go to the store and then start looking at packages and labels and whatnot. We do sensitization every time. NAFDAC and Your Health is on NTA on Tuesday, either Tuesday or Monday. We have been doing that now for about 4.5 years. We do sensitization every week on NAFDAC and Your Health on different subjects. And this particular subject now we're going to. For example, in Kano, about a year plus ago, many people died because they added something to some drinks. And a lot of people died because they thought they were adding an enhancer. They didn't know they were adding a chemical that was smuggled in for something else. So we do this sensitization. The thing is that we cannot stop. We have to keep doing it because we have a lot of people that didn't go to school, and we just have to continue to sensitize. It's a never-ending activity for NAFDAC.
Thank you very much. And Doc, just before we go, how can we avert this danger of of all these chemicals? Because Nigerians, we have a knack for imported products, and some of these imported products are not really healthy. Even the ones they are making right in the country, some of of course, she has a prof there has told us that there's a regulatory agencies going around trying to make sure that there's a quality control. But tell us, how dangerous are some of these products?
Well, let me emphasize on something. Sometimes the fact that you take something does not necessarily mean that it will harm you or kill you. But when you repeat the same thing over and over, let me take this example of sodium monoglutarate, for example, glutamate that we are just talking about. That is a substance that you find in the seasoning, in the little sachet that you open and add to the indomie that you are cooking. Okay. Now, ordinarily, that monosodium glutamate is even better than salt. It has much less sodium than salt has. But if you use it over and over and over, it accumulates, and if its effect is more pronounced on the brain, on the kidney, on the liver, and on the male reproductive organ.
Okay.
If, for example, you eat salt, normally, not excessively, just to spice your food, it will not harm your brain. Salt will not harm your brain. It will not harm your kidney. It will not harm your liver. But if you do the same thing with sodium monoglutamate for a long period of time, just the way we eat salt almost every day, it will harm you.
So we'll have to be moderate in whatever we are
Yes,
taking.
but now that we are talking with NAFDAC, I would like to make a request to Prof. Since they are going to be checking, can they please also include Maggi and other preservatives in their checking, so that we know what is being used in the country and the dangers they pose to us?
Thank you very much. And that's it on Nigeria Today. We want to thank our guests for sharing their thoughts with us. The Director General of NAFDAC, who joined us via Zoom, Professor Mujisola Christiana Adeyeye. Thank you for your contributions, Prof.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
And also a public health specialist, Dr. Isaac Abuja. Thank you for your contribution.
My pleasure, anytime.
And to you, our viewer, thank you for always keeping the date. Don't forget, Nigeria Today air weekdays at 7:30 p.m. on NTA News 24. You can watch this and other episodes on www.youtube.com/NTA News 24 Hub. I am your carrier, Clinton. Goodbye.